Righty, right now I want to do just sort of a general reading for the upcoming weeks. So we're looking at the end of August, beginning of September, just sort of a general fucking world reading or whatever. And let's just see what we got going on. All right. So our root card here is the King of Cups, and this is pretty much about emotional exchange. The King of Cups is the master of the exchange, and the King isn't giving emotional energy to anything that isn't giving him at least that much back. So it's emotional fulfillment in here, but it really is sort of controlling the emotional exchange that happens within you so you don't end up getting fucking vampired on or pouring a bunch of emotional energy into anything that gives you a thimbleful back, right? So the root card here is the King of Cups. The main card is the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Wands is the burden. This is, I mean, as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing sort of the sticks that the person is carrying in the 10 are like the resources, and this is bringing the resources to where they need to be. And what I'm feeling like is this is literal transportation of resources that is showing up here. So, whatever it is that you're trying to do, the 10 is showing like it being a time to move your resources to whatever the fucking place is. Let's see what's behind it and what's in front of it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Holy crap. All right. So moving away from the moon and moving toward the Wheel of Fortune. Now, this is kind of bouncing off of the reading that I did about what fucking planet even is it? There's a planet, is it Venus? The planet that just went into retrograde. I'm forgetting now. I think it's Venus, but the one, no, it was Mercury. Okay, the Mercury retrograde. Mercury in Leo, beginning to retrograde, but it showed that this retrograde Mercury period was a good time to really understand the ways in which we are being manipulated. And it showed the manipulation getting so intense that we saw the specific chords, so we were able to cut them, or are able to, since that will be happening during this period too. The retrograde Mercury. I think Venus is still in retrograde as well. But anyway, so the moon, this is manipulation, being fucking lied to, you know. So moving away from that and redirecting resources. Now, here it shows this moving toward the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune, it's destiny. This is karma. This is the bigger clock turning. Um, the way this makes sense to me is like, here's the energy that you put in, and the Wheel of Fortune is like the great web, right? Like the web of life, the great web. And you can do these little individual filaments of the web, but the Wheel of Fortune is talking about the big fucking web. And it's like you need to put this energy into it, and it's like it catches some sort of wave in the great web that happens here in the Wheel of Fortune. So during the next couple weeks, this looks really good for any sort of work that you're doing, especially if it's work that is separating you from past manipulation, especially when we go even further back to the King of Cups, emotional manipulation. But when I look at the 10, I'm still seeing literally moving your resources into a different place or a different position, something like that. Um, right. So let's see what else we got going on here. And this is essentially like a different layer of stuff. A reversed Knight of Swords and the Devil. Okay. The reverse Knight of Swords, so that would be a soldier type energy, but this is the Guardian that has gone berserk. So it's the Guardian that would attack whatever it was that it was trying to guard. Um, Pretty much out of control, insane sort of defensive energy. And combined with the devil, that is pretty fucking huge. Now, I've been feeling some sort of thing about an attack or something like that. And I felt this specifically about September 11th. And I mentioned it to my roommate, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, hey, you're a little too late on that one." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess I'm 22 years too late." But I did feel that. And this didn't come in a dream or anything like that. It was just a feeling, right? So I'm going to pull a card on that to see if this is some sort of fucking freaky attack that happens on the 11th. And what we get is a Seven of Swords. This is pressure. I would not say that this is an attack, but this is like, or at least not some major like terrorist thing, but this is pressure to do something that isn't necessarily a good idea. And if we bring that back here, I'm currently watching a Deep Space Nine episode where there was like a false flag thing on Earth with the Dominion, and they were doing it just so they could have complete control over Earth and have these soldiers everywhere. This feels like that. That's what this looks like. And it's funny because I'm like watching the episode right now. I paused it to do the reading. But this looks like that sort of energy, like defensive, obsessive energy that is kind of being forced, right? Like in the seven. So the jester does tricks. That's what he does, and people are looking at him, and he's like, "Well, I better do a fucking trick because that's what I do, right?" And they haven't worked through it or anything. It's literally, and truly, they pressured themselves to do it. But the rope is going to break because they didn't actually go through this. You can see that there, the rope is frayed. And they may just swallow that sword. But looking at the combination of these three, this is probably some sort of massive military movement. I wouldn't say it's necessarily an attack, but maybe like a preparation or some sort of big thing. Military movement of some kind. Let's just see if I can get any idea of like where, I guess, this would happen. And we get the Empress. So the Empress is wherever people would be receptive to it, or wherever the energy would be receptive to it. So anywhere that they would be receptive to massive mobilizations of troops. I guess time will tell. We'll see, right? But this does kind of reflect the weird feeling that I had. But this does not show a straight up attack. I think what it shows is some sort of mobilization of troops or something like that. But on the smaller scale, this is about separating from emotional manipulation. And that said, like, I wouldn't let any of this stuff freak you out, because that would be giving emotional energy to something that might not fucking mean anything at all. But that is what we get looking at these cards, and it does kind of harmonize with something that I was feeling. But looking back here, if there's something you've been trying to do and it hasn't been working, you might need to relocate your resources. And especially if that means you would be getting away from some sort of manipulation, be it emotional or mental or whatever. it looks like the relocation is a good idea. And that feeds into a wave that would be coming through the Great Web. Right. So that is what we get here. And I would love to hear what you think about this. And hopefully there won't be any massive freaky shit that's going on, but I guess time will tell. And that's what we have for now. Peace.